previous chapter, after the beast tide had ended, General Chunantian took great interest in Chen Feng and invited him to join his forces and defend the northern wall. But Chen Feng respectfully declined, wanting to pursue his own path first. With that decision made, they returned to their normal lives, but Chen Feng wasn't content to stay idle. Determined to find other ways to level up his pet, he turned to the Adventurers Association. Since his accomplishments at the northern wall had been publicized, his registration went smoothly, and he was given the codename Frost Shadow. With this, he could now accept missions, which he immediately checked out himself. Now on to the next part. After Chen Feng accepted a mission, he was waiting outside the next day for his client, as it seems like he accepted an escort mission to not only get experience point, but also get a huge amount of money. Coincidentally, the client was Su Nian, and she didn't recognize Chen Feng because of his disguise, but she was impressed by his presence, having not noticed him at all initially. This left her with the impression that he was very skilled. With this, she approached the mysterious man and asked if he was a member of the Adventurers Association, to which he confirmed by showing his emblem. Now that it was cleared up, Su Nian went ahead to inform her friend, revealing that Chen Feng was not the only one involved in this mission. Suddenly, a woman dripped in green appeared, stealing everyone's attention with her beauty and style. Even Chen Feng noticed her, and judging from her aura alone, concluded that she was a very powerful individual, possibly having reached the peak of the bronze level. And Su Nian noticed Chen Feng's distraction, and was curious about it. But she didn't have to wonder for long, as the woman in green approached her and fully embraced her from behind, completely surprising Su Nian. It turned out they knew each other. This was the friend Su Nian had been contacting. Her name was Leng Qian, and this green-haired woman wasn't particularly fond of the idea of hiring someone from the association, which prompted Su Nian to explain that she was well aware of her own limitations, so she believed it would be better to have more companions than none. Leng reluctantly accepted this reasoning, but looking at the association member in front of them doesn't impress her. In fact, it made her angrier. Seeing his scrawny ass build, she had more muscle than this bitch. And so Leng Qian asks Su Nian if she isn't strong enough for her, and Su Nian tried to calm her down, explaining that she didn't mean it that way. She didn't doubt her abilities. She just wanted some assurance for her own safety, since Leng Qian tended to get wild when dealing with monsters, and sometimes left their defense vulnerable. And this statement speaks volumes as silence follow, signifying how even Leng Qian herself agrees how unreliable she was. This prompted her to redirect her frustration towards the association member, aggressively asking his codename. Chen Feng found this ridiculous, but decided to answer her and get on with it. He introduced himself, prompting Leng Qian to do the same. With that settled, Su Nian sighed in relief, glad that the two were getting along without much trouble, and so they decided to head to the Northwest District to start their mission. A few moments later, they arrived at the Northwest region, where they were thoroughly checked, and since Chen Feng was a member of the association, getting permission to pass the gate was easy. With that, they entered the wilderness. The area was hot and sandy, a stark contrast to the northern wall they had previously visited, but this place was safer, allowing them to walk casually as if they were on vacation. Still, they were on a mission, not a picnic, and as the employer, Su Nian informed everyone of their destination, the Northwest Military Camp, deep in the forest. But they shouldn't worry, as she had planned a safe route for them, which they fully understood. With the plan clear, Leng started making small talk, asking Chen Feng about his skills, but their conversation was cut short when Chen Feng sensed monsters nearby, which he quickly informed the group, putting everyone on high alert. But the others couldn't sense the monsters like Chen Feng could, and scrambled to find them, and Chen Feng noticed their confusion, and so he helped them, pointing out the location of the monsters heading straight toward them. Looking at the ground, they saw two large normal-grade rats leap out of the sand, in which Leng Qian quickly positioned herself between Su Nian and the rats, summoning her pet beast, a boxing kangaroo, from a Pokeball-like pendant. This pendant allowed her to store pets, and also helped them evolve and heal their injuries. It could even save pets from life-threatening situations, as a pet's life was closely tied to its owners, and even Chen Feng was envious of this item and hoped to get one in the future. But now that the rats were closing in, Leng and her pet beast met them halfway. Her kangaroo attacked the rats ferociously, as if they owed the cartel money, while Leng laughed on the side, boastfully claiming that she didn't even have to use her full strength to deal with them. Afterwards, she turned to Su Nian, fishing for compliments, to which Su Nian obliged, hoping it would stop her from acting like a child. To her surprise, Leng Qian then admitted that the association member was reliable for noticing the monsters before she did, which slightly improved her impression of him. However, she still insisted she was better, arguing that even if she found out later, she could handle herself among a bunch of monsters. With this thought, Leng expressed to Su Nian that hiring the association member was a waste of money, and suggested that she should have used it to take her out to eat instead. But Su Nian disagreed, explaining that her mission was important, so she needed all the help she could get, and besides, the cost was not a big deal to her. As they talk, Frost suddenly turned towards the opposite direction, indicating that he had sensed another monster lurking nearby. And somehow, Leng Qian was immediately excited by this, seeing this as her time to flex, and so she quickly rushed ahead to find the source of the sound, acting as if she was alone, and Su Nian couldn't help but facepalm, as this was exactly what she had been worried about. Even Chen Feng could only close his eyes in exasperation. A few steps later, they arrived at the destination and discovered a group of blood moles. These social monsters never traveled alone, and judging by the light yellow spots on their bodies, they were low-level creatures, and it seemed like the moles hadn't noticed them yet, and in Leng Qian's mind, this was the perfect opportunity to jump on them. Meanwhile, Su Nian couldn't help but grit her teeth at how recklessly Leng Qian was acting. With not much else she could do, she asked Frost to stay alert and be on guard to assist if anything happened. She promised to double his reward for this extra trouble. With that settled, they followed Leng Qian. However, it soon became clear they didn't need much help. Leng Qian's boxer kangaroo was whacking the blood moles as if they were trying to beat a high score, and these poor blood moles who just wanted to eat decided to run for their lives now that their dinner was ruined by these intruders. But Leng Qian wasn't planning to let them go. She was determined to finish every single one of them, chasing after them relentlessly, while her teammates struggled to keep up with her, knowing they needed to stop her before she entered the forbidden territory. Unfortunately, Leng Qian got carried away, and soon they couldn't even see her silhouette, and it was not helping that the forest grew denser with each step, and just as they feared, they realized they were now inside the forbidden territory. The only way to chase after Leng Qian was to follow her tracks, but these became unreliable as they scattered in all directions. And coupled with how they were unfamiliar with the forest, it became increasingly difficult to navigate. With this, Frost suggested they leave the forbidden forest and follow the route Su Nian had prepared to the camp while they still could, as they haven't gone deep into the forest yet, and she shouldn't worry too much about her friend. With her strength, she wouldn't have any problem handling herself. But it seemed that her mind was too occupied with worry for her friend to register his words, and so Chen Feng got closer and tried to convince her again, asking her to trust him. Thankfully, Su Nian felt his words were reasonable, but she still wanted to try everything before giving up. She pulled out her phone and tried to contact Leng Qian, but there was no signal reception. Immediately, she was devastated, unsure of what to do. While Su Nian was busy worrying about Leng Qian was taking her time defeating the blood moles and their ancestors, and after successfully wiping out a whole family tree, she celebrated, unaware of the concern she had caused. A few moments later, Su Nian finally accepted that there wasn't much she could do, and decided to follow Frost's advice. Unfortunately, because they had been idle for too long, they caught the attention of an undesirable monster, a ferocious grayed giant snake. The snake caught them off guard, but Chen Feng was ready. He took out his pet from his poke pendant and activated its special skill, Absolute Defense, meeting the snake halfway with its jaws wide open. Chen Feng's pet successfully knocked it back with its passive effects, stunning it for 5 seconds. But the snake was venomous, and Chen Feng suffered 1% poison damage. This granted him a new skill, Poison Resistance, which was crucial for effectively fighting the monster. However, he realized he needed to receive poison damage 99 more times to become fully immune, indicating a long fight if they continued to entertain this monster. Though he wasn't severely hurt, the venom spreading through his blood meant time wasn't on their side. And so Chen Feng suggested they run, and Su Nian quickly followed his lead. As they fled for their lives, she noticed Frost's pet, which looked oddly similar to Chen Feng's. This led her to realize that Frost and Chen Feng were the same person, which made her wonder why Chen Feng was hiding his identity. But whatever his reasons, the most important thing now was to get out of the forest, so she didn't say a word. In the meantime, the giant snake used its skill to mark them without their knowledge. After running for a few miles, Su Nian was getting out of breath and asked Frost to slow down so she could take a break. But Frost isn't taking any chances, knowing that the snake could catch up to them at any moment, so Frost urged her to continue, suggesting they leave the forest as quickly as possible and rest afterward. To help her, he suggested resonating with her pet to lessen her exhaustion and increase their speed. And this was a sound reasoning, and therefore she did what she was told, calling out to her pet beast to share the burden and receive a speed boost. This allowed them to continue running without much trouble, but things didn't go according to plan, as the serpent was just too cunning. Having calculated their route, it decided to head on first and just wait for them near the exit. As soon as they arrived at the forest's edge, the serpent launched a surprise attack, catching Sunyan off guard. But Chen Feng was ready. He used his absolute barrier to block the monster's attack, stunning it again but also receiving more poison. And this time he could feel the venom spreading in Turtle Bro's body, which affected him as well, slowing him down, and unfortunately, they couldn't even attack the serpent to finish it off because another beast appeared in the sky, looking in their direction and preparing to attack. And with his fast thinking, Chen Feng immediately grabbed Sun Yan's hand, and they ran as fast as they could, and with that, they were finally out of the forest. This also meant that they regained some signal reception, and therefore Sun Yan tried to contact Leng Qian, but to her surprise, the serpent, who is now enraged, was right behind them, about to swallow Sun Yan whole. Luckily, Chen Feng was faster, pulling her out of danger, and received the attack with his absolute defense, stunning the serpent once more. But this time, they had no chance to retaliate or run, as the fierce great immortal eagle descended from the sky, aiming to kill Chen Feng. But he got that godly reaction, blocking the attack just when it's about to hit, knocking the eagle down, and Sun Yan isn't planning to let this opportunity slip by, so she summoned her feral beast to attack the immortal eagle, targeting its weak spots and slicing its wing to prevent it from going anywhere. As Sun Yan's beast battled the immortal eagle, she approached Chen Feng to ask if he was all right, which he assured her he was fine, while he was also thankful for her timely warning, as he hadn't noticed the eagle since it was an undead-type beast. But their conversation had to wait, as the snake recovered from its stun. So Chen Feng activated absolute defense once more, and instead of being pressed by this, Chen Feng just look at the brighter side of things, and view this as an opportunity to build up his poison resistance. But with each and every strike, the poison kept accumulating, and Chen Feng could only defend since he didn't have any offensive skills, and Sun Yan's pet was still preoccupied with the immortal eagle. But its name was put on to test, as Sun Yan's cat took this as a challenge, attacking it relentlessly without delay, and as the eagle tried to heal from its injuries, the cat doubled its speed and power, inflicting damage faster than the eagle could regenerate. And eventually, the cat managed to crack open the beast's skull, and when the monster's brain was completely crushed, it remained dead, revealing it to be not so immortal after all. Meanwhile, the ferocious snake continued its relentless attack on Chen Feng. By now, Chen Feng had developed a 10% resistance to the poison, but the accumulated poison in his system had increased to 27%, taking a severe toll on him and Turtle Bro. He even felt like he was on the verge of collapse, but fortunately, he didn't have to endure much longer, as Sun Yan and her pet had defeated the eagle, and so they moved on to attack the serpent. And just like what they did with the eagle, they immediately proceeded to severely handicap it, taking its ability to see with its other eye. Surprisingly, it immediately retaliated by spraying venoms back at the cat. But Chen Feng anticipated this, and protected the feral cat just in time. But the pure venom he absorbed caused the poison level in his body to spike, inflicting intense pain. Despite this, the feral cat seized the opportunity and slashed its claws deep into the serpent, killing it instantly. The large beast's body flopped lifelessly to the ground, and the group could finally breathe a sigh of relief as the battle was over. But then Chen Feng collapsed as the venom continued to spread through Turtle Bro's blood. He desperately needed to find a way to get rid of it. Fortunately, Sun Yan noticed their struggle and immediately went to him, offering a healing potion to eliminate the poison, which Chen Feng gratefully accepted, but also turned away to drink it, not wanting Sun Yan to see his face thinking she hadn't recognized him. And immediately the potion's effect started, which they felt an excruciating pain, as it was burning their inside as it tries to eliminate all the toxin inside their veins. But after that, they felt much better, as if the toxins were never there. And seeing that they are okay now, Sun Yan asks Chen Feng if he is tight on money. Why don't he go to the front line? With his ability, it shouldn't be difficult to make money, while addressing him with his real name, which completely shocked Chen Feng as he quickly asked how long had she known it was him, to which she gladly revealed that she had known for a while, and so he could take off his mask now. But Chen Feng didn't remove his mask and instead answered her question. He explained that he wanted to enjoy his freedom a little longer, and would reconsider the army in the future. For now, he wanted to explore the world and experience life, stemming from his unique perspective as a transmigrator, though he couldn't share that last part with Sun Yan or anyone else. And with his honesty, Sun Yan felt a little closer with him, which made her smile, and she could say that Chen Feng had never changed. He had always been courageous, as the path he was taking isn't easy. It requires guts and determination. But anyways, she was also thankful that he saved her for the second time now, prompting Chen Feng to jokingly asks her to give him a 5-star rating after the work is completed, which she was on board with. She even promises to leave a good review. Additionally, she informs him that the skin of the ferocious snake they had slain was a luxury product, and its meat was a valuable medicinal material, which she is willing to give him all the rights to it. This immediately lit up Chen Feng's eyes as he wondered how much money he could make by selling these items to the association. With this in mind, he took out his magical storage and stored the giant snake in it. Despite its large size, the storage bag easily accommodated the entire snake.